Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Punishing Grey Raven reaction. Today we have Crossing Eternities. This is one that I've seen a good number of comments on individual videos about, and it's been about a week since I started seeing those comments, so I figured I should probably get to it. It's actually been a little while since I've listened to PGR music just because of the timing of everything else and all the other stuff I've had going on. I haven't really been prioritizing this one, and it hasn't gotten too many comments saying I should, aside from all of them saying this song. So I guess without further ado, let's go. I've kind of missed Haloweak, so I'm hoping that this has similar vibes to the Haloweak sound I know. But as per usual, I'm open for anything, so... Loving the chord progression here. Very progressive chord progression. Ooh, okay, that's different. Just crank into a minor chord there. Get a little crunchy with it. There are those Haloweak synths I've come to know and love. Every single time I hear Haloweak, I feel like I'm gonna astral project. It's a great sound design and everything, especially with the clock ticking. As always. Sorry, I just got so into that groove. That was like a 3/4 or a 6/8. I'm always bad at telling the difference between the two of those, but what an interesting choice. It's not often you hear that sort of a meter in electronic. Especially not this really synth-heavy stuff. It tends to be 4/4 all the time. Love the violin in there. Those bends in are just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. And we take a step back. God, I was so into that last section for so long. I forgot how long I was sitting there saying nothing. I was just existing. See, this is more what I expected. Chain it to a 4/4 and just kind of... Because this is a whole different vibe. Got this trance house thing going on. And I do be loving that. I know this song is like almost 8 minutes long too. And I'm just gonna be vibing this whole time. Makes me wonder how many changes are gonna happen though. Not gonna lie, this synth kind of feels like Pokemon Sun and Moon a little bit during the battle theme. Has a very similar sound. Where are we going? Whoa! Love this. I love how much they're changing the meter. The time signatures are never like back to back the same. And we're already back to 4/4 here. Like, Haloweak be playing around right now. God, I'm loving the melody on this. Little dissonance brought it back there. There it is again. Different chord. I'm loving the like upbeat going in the background with the slower drums on there. That's a really cool section. This whole song is really cool. If it wasn't obvious by me just bopping my head the whole time. Damn, another banger from Haloweak. I cannot get enough every single time. Phenomenal work as always. I made a lot of my general comments during the reaction if that was not obvious, so I think for my whole analysis section here, I'm going to kind of dig into what I thought the song was getting at, because these are, I believe, to be character themes, and those usually have reflections of the character that's on screen, and that always comes in the form of music. Games from Project Moon like Lobotomy Corporation, Limbus Company, they kind of do the same thing where they have the character themes based heavily around a very specific character. That's fairly regular for what I get from PGR. I get a lot of their character themes, some boss themes, but I don't really get many of their like BGMs and like stage themes so much. So I feel like there's always these emotional undertones that I just am supposed to be picking up on, and I try to, but a lot of the time I'm so interested in the music composition itself that I don't get to talk about the characters specifically like I do for those other games. So this time, since I gave my general opinions, I think that I can dig in a little bit more and try to figure out this character maybe just based off the music, as I usually do. This whole song is like oozing progression and optimism. Like everything about it is moving forward, even when there are like little trips in there where it goes a little bit jazzy and has some interesting clashing chords in there that usually you wouldn't associate with optimism and moving forward. That's actually really telling of the character to have those minor chords in there, because it can be moments in their journey of tripping themselves up or remembering something that wasn't perfect in their life and maybe the reason why they're trying to be so optimistic all the time. That can be a very telling factor in a lot of themes, is those little things going on in the music that people tend to not really pay attention to. And little trip-ups like that, little changes to the expected formula of music, are kind of where a lot of the meat of the character in a character theme comes from, because usually you just get the same progression going forward. That's a song. put it in the desk, have a nice day, don't look at it again, it's pretty boring. So when you want to inject a character into a song, so to speak, and like make it theirs specifically, you really want to look at who the character is, what their motivations are, what their life story is. And of course, the producers of these songs, the writers, the composers, usually get some sort of a general idea, like a little booklet of synopsis data on the character that they can work off of for their story. And just based off what Haloweak wrote here, I'm getting that exact image of a character with a lot of optimism. Maybe the character stumbles a bit, might be a little bit clumsy or goofy in certain ways, and maybe isn't perfect by any means, but they try their best to do their best. And those little trip-ups in the overall progression are kind of what's signifying that to me. It could also be very big emotional tolls happening through their main story, like every little while there's something very tragic that happens to them or something just generally unfortunate, showing growth and movement towards those better chords, therefore better conclusions. But also the constant change of the time signatures is also telling for me as well, showing me that this character, while trying to move forward and being progressive, does so in literally their own beat and lives to their own rhythm. So they're not constantly falling to the 4/4 exact expected formula, and they're doing things a little bit more them, and they're proud of that. There wasn't really any hesitation in there aside from those chords that were a little bit crunchy and stumbling in there, but I don't believe that those are reflective of the character stumbling in their own resolve as much as it is just outside factors getting in the way of their attempts to be a better person. There's enough confidence overall in the way this song is written that I'm not getting the feeling that with those different time signatures that being off kilter is necessarily a fault as much as it is a character trait. You know, like it's a good thing that this character likes to be themselves, and no matter what, they're going to be working towards their goal in the future. But all that said, it also feels like there's segments in there, especially when it goes back to that slower section that they started with, they got faster, went back to it. That to me is signifying something like loneliness, where like no matter their ideal and where they're trying to end up, they are still lonely. And that feels very telling of a lot of characters. I mean, that whole lone wolf complex is kind of normal in games like this. You want to be able to reflect with the character, and you want a strong character to be able to relate to. So that is kind of a frequent thing to see. But nonetheless, and despite that, still somebody who's trying their best to move forward and become better at whatever they're trying to be better at, whether that's just being a better person and trying to improve on themselves, or if they're trying to save like a civilization, if it's that grand of a scale, and their lone journey is the sole factor of that happening or not happening. There are definitely things, obviously, I'm not aware of with PGR. I do not play the games, as is the case with all things I cover, basically, but nonetheless, I'm getting those sorts of vibes out of just the music. I do this a lot more with those other games from Project Moon, especially because while those songs are fantastic, they are a little bit easier to read, mostly because they're all made by like the same firm and it's like the exact same composers every single time, and they have to keep things pretty surface level because a lot of them will loop after a few minutes because they tend to be like level themes and boss themes that are on loop, on repeat constantly, whereas character themes like this can either be much more poetic about it or just downright way more deep. Like there are so many layers in what you can do in a character theme when you're handed a couple of minutes to just make a character's entire personality shine through that song. You can put as much love and care and attention into it as you want to, compared to a level or a boss theme where it's just kind of supposed to give you the vibe in general. But of course, still a beautiful theme for all those reasons. I love how deep this one is and how deep I'm able to go when I'm talking about it. It just isn't usually the thing I go for when I'm doing these videos because they can be kind of a slog to work the brain juices into the right words. Every single time you see a cut in this video, it's me stumbling over something I'm trying to say because they're a lot more difficult to put into words of what I actually want to say and what I mean to say. So if you ever see a cut like you just did, that's me stumbling over a word, trying to figure stuff out and just trying to make sure that my thoughts are clear, because I just did another one just there because I trip over my tongue trying to get these out. But yeah, beautiful song. I am not mad in the slightest. I love that Haloweak has come back with yet another banger. Of course, I expect nothing less. Love the trance dance trance energy of this one. I've been listening to the Armin van Buuren State of Trance radio show for like over a year now when I'm at work, and I love that too. It's just fantastic hearing all of this creative energy in the trance space. And this is another song that could fit completely perfectly into one of his shows. Like, it would just slide in there. You would never know it's a PGR song. And that's what I love about these, because no matter how much love, care, and attention you put in, it's still at its core musically fantastic and can stand on its own musically and doesn't need the game to support it. It adds like an extra level of cool knowing that it is a character theme, but all in the same, it doesn't need that to stand on its own, and that itself just shows the fantastic work that Haloweak has put into it. So yet again, brilliant song from Haloweak, but I think I will call it there. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you have another song from PGR that you want me to get to, please drop it in the comments below. I do not get enough requests for this game, and the music is always top tier, so it's always a bummer when I don't get back to it and don't see any for a while. But yeah, if you have something, let me know. And of course, otherwise, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!